welcome in. This is another brand new edition of the 901 Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Lawrence Docker. You can find me on Twitter at L.93. Follow the 901 Soccer Podcast on Twitter at 901 Soccer Pod. And of course, we are part of Bluff City Media, so you can find Bluff City Media on Twitter at BluffCity_media. Find the 901 Soccer Podcast on Facebook. Just search 901 Soccer. We should pop right up. And go ahead and search Bluff City Media while you're on Facebook, and they will pop right up. And of course, if you're actually watching this, that means you're watching it on YouTube. So please make sure to like this video. Please comment on this video and subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. So this one is just going to be short and sweet tonight. Got something I want to get off my chest. There is a lot of hype and hoopla around a specific event, and it's going into its third year, and I don't really know why. I don't understand the hype. I don't understand the hoopla. I don't really care. And yes, I do understand the irony of me sitting here doing a show about something that I am purporting to not care about. Maybe it's not so much that I don't care, but I'm confused and I'm not interested, and I'm hoping somebody can shed a little bit more light on this. I doubt that anybody can, but you know, this is we have open lines of communication. So if you feel free, comment on the video, DM me, at me, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But I just I have questions, and it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. But before we get there, let's set the stage. We are now entering another summer of soccer. We had a fantastic summer of soccer last year. You had Copa America here in the U.S. You had the Euros going on in Germany. Obviously, the United States bombed the hell out of Copa America, as did Mexico. But Argentina went on and won the trophy. The Euros were a lot of fun. Spain beat England in a very entertaining final. Then you had the Olympics, and the U.S. women won gold at the Olympics, and the U-23 men's team. Not only were they back at the Olympics for the first time since 2008 in Beijing, but they made it to the knockout round for the first time since, I believe, 2000 in Sydney. So, you know, took a little bit of the sting, not a lot, just a little bit of the sting out from the absolute debacle that was Greg Berhalter's performance at Copa America. And how he was only unemployed for 6 months, I'll never know. But he's no longer my national team coach, and that is, all things considered, the best possible outcome. So what we have this year is another summer of soccer. You've got the Club World Cup is being played here in the U.S., and the Gold Cup. Gold Cup's played here every 2 years, so that's not really anything new. But the fact that it's going concurrently with the Club World Cup, I think is kind of cool. And yes, CONCACAF has shuffled deck chairs and stacked the deck and moved stuff around and put things and all sorts of potentially shady practices because it looks like the U.S. and Mexico might meet before the final, and CONCACAF wants nothing to do with that. But it being played west of the Mississippi, predominantly west of the Mississippi River, while the Club World Cup is being played primarily east of the Mississippi River, is pretty cool and a lot of fun, I think. Now the Club World Cup, you can debate on whether, you know, it's a real tournament, or, you know, how cool it is, how uncool it is, how fake it is, whatever you want to say. But I'll say this. If it was being played anywhere other than the U.S., I probably wouldn't give a rat's ass. But it's being played here, and it's the year before World Cup, and it's something that you can say we've had X number of years in a row of high-level soccer played in the United States. And you got your big European clubs. You've got some of the biggest clubs in South America. You've got right now 2, possibly 3 MLS teams involved. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to take it seriously. I do wonder how seriously some of these clubs are going to take it. Like, if I had to guess, the European clubs probably don't give a shit. They just don't. But it's a $10 million payday. Like, $10 million is a lot of money, even for some of the biggest clubs. So that's not anything that they're going to turn their nose up at. But if I had to guess, my money would be on probably the South American teams taking it the South American teams and the Mexican team taking it the most seriously. But, I'm trying to, off the top of my head, I know Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, Philly, New York, obviously, Cincinnati, DC, Who else? And then LA and Seattle, because the Sounders are one of the MLS teams in it, and you can't just have everybody going, from Florida to Seattle, Washington, and back several times a week. So you give Seattle you get like a travel partner. Sounds like we're talking college football conference realignment, and you have Seattle and LA. So you're going to have you're going to have Gold Cup games going on at SoFi, I believe, and you're going to have Club World Cup games going on at the Rose Bowl. That's kind of cool. And then you're going to have an LAFC Club America playoff, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But that's what I'm excited for this summer. We'll get to what I'm not excited for in a second. But this is all with an eye towards the popularity of the game needing to explode here, both leading up to and after the World Cup here next year. So if you had a lot of great crowds at Copa America last year, I would suspect you're going to have good crowds at both Club World Cup and Gold Cup this year, because I understand the FIFA is getting a little bit desperate about the ticket sales for the Club World Cup. I get that. And, Orlando Pirates from South Africa against, a team from South Korea, probably not going to move the needle. But how many times do we see Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Liverpool, like all those teams, when they come over here for preseason games, their tickets are outrageously expensive and they still sell out for a meaningless preseason game. This is theoretically a real competition, and the ticket prices are every bit as expensive as they are for these club friendlies. So I think there's still going to be great crowds. That being said, I think FIFA is well aware of, even before the tickets went on sale, I think they were well aware that this is a new-ish event, and it's not really one that anybody asked for. That's something you've heard me yell and scream about the NBA being the masters of giving you things that you didn't ask for, like round shot clock and like robot technology on three-pointers. Like, no, guys, we just want to be able to watch teams actually not be prevented from playing defense, and we want to see somebody do something other than shoot three-pointers. We want to see the stars actually play. For example, here close to home in Memphis, John Morant has missed nearly as many games as he's played in the last 4 years. But hey, the NBA round shot clock. This is a little bit of that. Nobody was asking for like a super juiced up, expanded Club World Cup. We already had a Club World Cup, and really very few people took it seriously. But it was always played in December, and it was always in like Morocco or Qatar or Saudi Arabia, because those are really the only places in the world that you can play an event of that type in outdoors in December. But we already had a Club World Cup, and nobody really cared all that much about it. And like I said, if this was being played anywhere else in the world, if this was in Japan or Brazil or Germany or wherever, probably wouldn't care. But it's here. And I think it's a great test run for the World Cup next year, both as a viewer and as a host nation. Right? We used to have that with the Confederations Cup in 2006. Well, the Confederations Cup had a bunch of different variations, but the tried and true one was year before World Cup, small 8-team tournament test run. 2005 in Germany, 2009 in South Africa when the U.S. went to the final and lost to Brazil, 2013 in Brazil, 2017 in Russia. Couldn't do it in Qatar because Qatar wasn't went to World Cup. But hey, as long as the oil sheiks' checks cleared, who cares? So this being a test run, I think, is going to be very helpful. But FIFA was, the fact that they're using not just one but several soccer-specific stadiums instead of just playing in NFL stadiums or college football stadiums, I think tells you that they're expecting some of these crowds to not, be full houses. But I think Bayern Munich's playing a game at TQL in Cincinnati. That's a 26,000 seat stadium. That's going to be a stone cold sellout. Perfect segue, right up the road in Nashville. There are 3 Club World Cup games right up the road in Nashville. So if you're a Memphian, you have the opportunity to be able to go see this in person. Not only that, but the U.S. national team is playing a friendly against Switzerland on June the 10th. Yours truly will be there. Still waiting to find out if I'm going to be there for the Club World Cup. We are in a holding pattern, hopefully. And a side note, this is something I should have discussed at the start of the show, but I forgot. You may or may not have noticed that the Bluff City Media website is no more, but that's okay. It's a bummer for sure, and if and when it comes back, I would highly recommend that everybody go read whatever gets posted over there and buy anything that's for sale over there and subscribe to it and become an insider and join our Discord, which I still recommend. But my written content is I'm still writing stuff. I had been with World Soccer Talk, was let go from them in October, and was able to successfully pivot and move everything over to Bluff City Media. But now the Bluff City Media website is on a hiatus, we shall say. And I'm over at Beyond the 90 now. So you can go over to Beyond the 90. I've done a couple of re-releases on some stuff that I did at the end of last year, and wrote a couple of pieces about the U of M women's team with the number of players that they have that have played for the Tigers, both recently and in the more distant past, are on rosters in the new Northern Super League, which is the new professional women's league in Canada. And if you know anything about the women's soccer program at the University of Memphis, it's that they have a lot of Canadian players. So that's a cool little bit of recognition for that program. And then, of course, Ashley Henderson, native Memphian, Harding grad, U of M Tiger, was called up for the U.S. women's futsal national team to CONCACAF World Cup qualifying down in Guatemala. And she scored 2 goals, one of which was an absolute laser beam. Haven't been able to find video of the other one, though I think somebody tried to send it to me on the Facebook page, and I don't remember if it came through or not. But so written content over at Beyond the 90 now. I have lost my train of thought. I apologize. Oh, games in Nashville. So if you're a Memphian and you want to be able to partake in the summer of soccer, you certainly have the opportunity to do so. There's 4 games up the road in Nashville, and I understand that saying good things about Nashville is like the worst thing you can do as a Memphian, which I think is foolhardy. But I haven't lived as long as a lot of other people have, so I might not be the best person to ask about that. However, you still have the opportunity to drive 3 hours up the road. You can do it in a day. You don't have to spend money on a hotel room. You're just going to be in for a long night of driving. The U.S. men play Switzerland in a pre-Gold Cup friendly there on June the 10th. And then you have the Club World Cup with 3 games in Nashville in June as well. The first one is Esperance de Sporting of Tunis, which is the Tunisian capital. And they originally were going to be playing Club Leon from Liga MX. And because FIFA has rules about multi-club ownership, they booted Leon out. Now, they probably should have booted Pachuca out because Pachuca qualified for this tournament after Club Leon did, and this multi-club ownership is not something that just showed up in the last 6 months. This is a larger Liga MX problem, but this is not a new phenomenon. Like, everybody knew this going in. So that sucks for Leon, but FIFA was, I think a team from Costa Rica is the one who ran this complaint up the flagpole because they thought they could have gotten in. And if you're a club from Costa Rica, $10 million is probably going to have you sitting pretty for quite a long time. But for whatever reason, there's going to be a playoff for this last spot, and it's between LAFC and Club America. LAFC was the runner-up in the CONCACAF Champions League to Leon in 2023, I believe. And then, or it was 23 or 22. No, it's the Sounders won it in 22. So it's 23. LAFC was the CONCACAF Champions League runner-up in 23. So that's why they're part of the playoff. And then Club America is, I guess, like the next highest ranked CONCACAF team in whatever ranking that nobody knows about. Which is why I guess we're going to have the playoff between those two. So the winner of that playoff, whenever that happens, is playing the team from Tunisia on June the 20th in Nashville. Then on June the 24th, you have Auckland City against Boca Juniors. Boca Juniors probably the biggest or second biggest, depending on who you ask, club in Argentina. So that's kind of a spicy, interesting, exciting matchup there. I suspect there will be some Boca Juniors fans in the building. And then the third game is Pachuca from Mexico, who Memphis 901 FC fans, who former Memphis 901 FC fans should be familiar with, as when Pachuca came to AutoZone Park in Memphis in 2019, put on quite the show against Memphis 901 FC and beat them 6-1. And they were bringing Premier League winners off the bench and scoring goals from midfield. But it was a lot of fun. That still, I think, was, even after all 6 years, was still the second largest crowd for a Memphis 901 FC game ever. I think the only game that was larger was the season opener in 2020 against Indy 11. And then everything went down the toilet. So you got the USA game. You've got Esperance de Sporting de Tunis against the winner of LAFC and Club America. Then you have Auckland City against Boca Juniors on June the 24th. And then you have Pachuca against Al Hilal from Saudi Arabia on June the 28th. Now, is there, do any of those teams really absolutely just massively move the needle? Probably not. If you are a neutral, if you are the people at Geodis Park in Nashville, you are probably rooting for Club America to beat LAFC. And you're glad that you have Boca Juniors and you're glad that you have Pachuca. A team from Argentina and two teams from Mexico are probably going to be your best bets. I'm sorry that nobody from LA, you might get 10 people from LA to go to Nashville for a Club World Cup game against the squad from Tunisia. But again, if this was being played anywhere else in the world, I wouldn't care. But it's here. It's in the U.S. It's a great test run for the World Cup. And I will attempt to be there as a representative of Memphis to bring the information to you. But there's another part of this summer of soccer that I don't understand. And I can't wrap my mind around it. And I don't know why we're trying to make it a big deal. And that is TST, the soccer tournament. It's an adult 7v7 soccer tournament, and there's $1 million up for grab at the end of it. So I guess that's why there's hype around it, because you're playing for $1 million. But, why do I care about an adult 7v7 tournament? It's being played in Cary, North Carolina, home of the North Carolina Courage and North Carolina FC from the USL Championship. It's where the College Cup is usually held every year. But it's okay, but why? And they have a real TV. They got a better TV deal than MLS does. They got to deal with ESPN. So some of these games are on ESPN Plus. Some of them are going to be on real, actual over cable ESPN. That's bananas to me. And this is, I think there's 48 men's teams and 8 women's teams, and that's another thing. It didn't make a whole lot of sense when it started out. It was just one big giant combined bracket. So the first edition of the tournament was in 2023, and they had men's teams playing against women's teams. And that didn't go well for the women's teams. I think whatever contingent Wrexham sent over, because I guess you're not allowed to say anything about soccer without talking about Wrexham now for whatever reason. They played U.S. women's national team veterans. I think Heather O'Reilly might have been on that team. I don't know if Carly Lloyd was on that team night, but they got smoked badly. And so I guess credit to the tournament organizers for going, hey, we got to have a men's division and a women's division. So I guess they've learned. But you've got all sorts of random-ass people playing in this thing. You've Pat McAfee and his crew are playing in this, which I guess I can appreciate non-traditional soccer people that aren't traditionally in the soccer media world getting involved in soccer. And that is, here's what else, that is the saving grace of this, is if it is a way for more people to get more interested in soccer, then I guess at the end of the day, that's a good thing, because that's what we all want. But this just feels kind of kind of lame to me, to be honest. It's almost like it's like a nostalgia trip, I think, because you've got a lot of dudes that are too old to play real professional soccer now, but now they can come play in this like 7v7 tournament. Landon Donovan's played in it in the past. I think Sergio Aguero played in it last year. Nani is playing in it this year. Tyler Adams has a team, and he's got, I guess he's bringing like Bournemouth retirees over for some reason. But then you've got a polyglot assortment of like random people. I mentioned Pat McAfee and his crew. Oddly enough, Pat McAfee did explode his ACL last year playing in this thing. So nobody's doubting that these guys aren't going hard. So if that's what you're going to be hooting and hollering about, miss me with that mess, because I'm not doubting that these people and these players aren't playing hard and trying to win. Like, there's $1 million on the line. But it's almost like, you remember the JJ Watt. Why is JJ I guess he owns like a 1% stake in Burnley. And so now all of a sudden JJ Watt is like America's foremost expert on soccer, which I don't understand. And he's got a team in here. Tactical Manager from YouTube has a team, and he just signed some Brazilian World Cup vet to come play for the team. And that's really what bugs me the most about this, is it's the nostalgia trip. And do I occasionally, usually, frequently, long for the way certain things used to be? Yeah. Not a fan of streaming. I like DVDs. I like tangible media. I don't like the fact that if I want to be able to watch stuff, you got to have 35 different subscriptions. Don't care for that. Do I like that, I have to scan a QR code when I sit down at a restaurant? No, I don't. Give me a menu, please. Do I like the fact that you have to have 7,000 apps on your phone to do something as simple as putting your clothes in the washing machine? Not a fan. But this is the nostalgia stuff has got to stop, guys. It's like the member berries from South Park. I remember. Yes, I remember that Sergio Aguero used to play for Manchester City. Don't really care that he doesn't now. Yes, I remember that Landon Donovan used to play for the U.S. national team. Don't really care now. This reminds me of what's the Ice Cube has the basketball thing, the Big Three, right? Which came to Memphis and apparently went poorly, but Ice Cube's people are saying it's FedEx Forum's fault, and FedEx Forum is saying it's Ice Cube's people's fault. So I don't know what to think there. But it's just like, yeah, we watched these dudes play in the NBA for 5 years longer than they should have, and it was terrible. But hey, they're playing 3v3 against each other. I'm all in. What? That doesn't make any sense. That is the biggest vibe that I'm getting from TST, the soccer tournament. And it's the same thing with the basketball tournament, TBT. That's another one that's got an ESPN TV deal. And I remember, oh, Lord, local media in this town knocking themselves out and fighting each other to have better takes about former Memphis Tiger basketball players in the basketball tournament. Like, guys, this isn't going to put a banner in the rafters at FedEx Forum, okay? This isn't going to bring back the Final Four that got vacated from 2008. This isn't going to really help Penny Hardaway, schedule better games or get better players. But hey, it's former Tigers in a $1 million 4v4 basketball tournament. Cool, I guess. It's the same thing with the soccer TST, the soccer tournament, which is just, what a lame name, might I also add. If you're going to have one of these, name it better. It's just, I can't bring myself to watch it, much less care about it. It's I can go out to Mike Rose or Snowden Grove or Hernando or wherever, and I can referee adult 7v7. I don't I don't want to do that, because there's a lot of dumb stuff that you got to deal with that I don't really want to deal with. So I can't wrap my mind around this fascination with watching the players of yesteryear play each other in essentially a meaningless tournament. And like they give out press credentials, you have to buy tickets. It's like they're trying to make it a big deal. They keep trying to make it a thing. And I guess if the money keeps being right, they'll keep making it a thing. I don't understand. I've said it before and I'm going to keep saying it. I don't get it. If there's somebody out there that can help me understand the fascination with the TST, because it has been all over the timeline for the better part of like a week or 2 weeks, and I've had about enough. I'm going to have to mute it because I can't. I just can't do it. Deal with it. Done. Finito. No mas. I don't get the hype around it. And all that being said, if it somehow, some way leads to more people being more interested in watching more soccer, I guess that's a good thing. I would I don't know if prefer, but I mean, it's only a 6-day tournament. So I'm sitting here talking like it's going to take up the whole summer. It's not. I think it's June the 4th through the 10th, maybe the 9th. So it's 5 or 6 days, and I understand all these networks need programming now because you can't just have Stephen A. Smith telling you about, Giannis's legacy. You can't make all day, every day out of that, much as you might try. But I don't know, man. Like, is this going to be something like 5 years from now? Messi's going to play in the soccer tournament, or Ronaldo's going to come play in the soccer tournament. I have a hard time really getting up for it, if that makes sense. It doesn't. Honestly, it probably wouldn't even register if I wasn't being constantly bombarded with it online. And I guess the argument there is maybe I need to be a little bit less online. But that's where I'm at with the soccer tournament, TST. Where are you guys at with the TST? You're probably not nearly as opinionated about it as I am. And for me to be hooting and hollering and yelling and screaming about it, yes, I do understand that it is somewhat ironic that I'm sitting here trying to tell you how much I don't care while I'm sitting here telling you about it. I understand that there is some irony there. But if you are a TST truther or a TST zealot, I don't know that there are such things, but if you are, please explain it to me. And if you're ambivalent and you're on the fence and you're a normal person and are just like, hey, if it's on, I'll watch it. If it's not, whatever. I guess more power to you, because if you're a zealot, I think you're crazy. And if you are as opinionated about it as I am, I think you might also be crazy, but that's okay. Okay, I think that's what I had to get off my chest, and I think we've gone about 30 minutes, so I think that's a good stopping point for the evening. I do want to let everybody know that as we get into the summer of soccer, this is going to be the last you hear from me about the TST, at least in this forum, in this setting. I might be complaining about it online a little bit more, but whatever. There will be more content. We don't have a professional team here anymore, as I'm sure you're all well aware. So the opportunities to do stuff are few and far between. But we are moving into a summer of soccer. That's Gold Cup, Club World Cup, USA, TST. So I'm going to be doing stuff this summer, hoping to have people from outside of the soccer world on the show to talk big picture. World Cup next year, what that means, growth of soccer, all that sort of stuff. Got a couple of feelers out, got a couple of interesting responses back. So hoping to not only have more soccer specific guests, but also to get some people who maybe don't even know anything about soccer, because if we're going to make soccer explode, that's the people that you got to get in. So you might as well get them in on the front end. And two things. I made this point on a radio appearance I did earlier this week. This is a twofold request, and I'm going to make it repeatedly in the next year and a half. This is one coin. It's two sides of one coin. On the one side, this is a plea to local media and national media, local in Memphis, local in Indianapolis or Denver or Dallas or Miami or Providence, Rhode Island. Okay. Like, this is local media in any city, even in Memphis, and national media for ESPN, NBC, Fox Sports, CBS, whatever. When we get into this summer of soccer and then into the World Cup next year, I am begging you, please attempt to discuss it seriously and intelligently. We've seen in the past, and we saw it with the Four Nations face-off in February, a lot of these media types could not wait to tell you that, yes, I'm watching it now, but they couldn't wait to tell you how much they wouldn't be watching when it was done. Don't need that. I understand there's only so much oxygen to go around, and some of you are pigeonholed into certain roles. I completely understand that. Nobody is asking for wall-to-wall, minute-to-minute, hour-by-hour, every single day. Certainly not in Memphis. But when you do discuss it, please attempt to intelligently discuss it. And I don't need, what if our best players played soccer? Or who is the Ja Morant of the U.S. men's national team? Like, no. Just discuss the national team, the games, the competitions, please. Now, there's a flip side to this coin. And the flip side of that coin is for you, the people. Please, and I understand this is difficult because there are those that do exactly what I just begged them not to. But that's going to happen when you have events of this magnitude. You're going to get those takes and those types of people. Much as we might ask them not to, it's going to happen. So my request to you, the people, is please no gatekeeping. That is, I understand it can be frustrating because if you've like me, have watched soccer for a long time and somebody go, why don't we have a LeBron James of soccer? Go away. I understand that's the temptation. Go away. Please no gatekeeping. That is one of the things that turns non-soccer people off the most. Think about it. If there's something that you don't know about and you start trying to learn about it, and the people that already know about it tell you you're an idiot, well, I don't want to learn about it anymore. To hell with you. So if local and national media can attempt to reasonably and intelligently discuss the games and the teams and the competitions, and the people, the average fan, can avoid gatekeeping soccer fandom as much as possible, I think we're all going to get along very well the next 2 or 3 years. Because there's a lot of soccer coming here to the United States. And this is probably soccer's last best chance to really explode. So that is my request, and I'm going to repeat it over time, probably many times. But all that being said, really looking forward to cranking out some more shows this summer and having some new and exciting guests on. That is going to do it for us tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm your host, Lawrence Dockery. You can find me on Twitter at LDoc93. You can find the 901 Soccer Podcast on Twitter at 901 Soccer Pod. You can find Bluff City Media on Twitter at Bluff City_media. And you can find us on Facebook as well. Just search 901 Soccer. We'll pop right up. Search Bluff City Media. We'll pop right up. And, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to like the video, share the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm out.